Good evening and welcome to CoreTV News on the Hour. I am Martins Dixon. Boko Haram kingpin security forces have killed a suspected Boko Haram kingpin and his brother in a gun battle in Kaduna. Eyewitnesses say the raid on the suspect's hideout at Kinkinwa GRA began early Monday and lasted about 3 hours. Security personnel, including soldiers, were said to have, on arrival, prevailed on the suspect, whose name was given as Usman, to give himself up. But instead, shots rang from the ceiling and residents claimed troops broke through the wall to get the suspect's family out of harm's way before the gun duel. Security sources told CoreTV News that soldiers had earlier arrested one terror suspect in Rigasa, a suburb of Kaduna, before proceeding to pick another one whose phone was used to communicate with the unsuspecting kingpin, Usman. Meanwhile, the landlord and the caretaker of the building have been taken into custody. Governors of the Southeast Zone have reaffirmed their commitment to improving the security of the area in view of the recent interception of suspected members of the Boko Haram sect in Abia and Enugu states. The forum says it has received quotation from a vendor of international repute for supply of security equipment. The chairman of the forum and Abia State Governor, Theodore Oji, says there is massive purchase of security equipment to encourage law enforcement agencies in the zone. The meeting was attended by Theodore Oji of Abia, Martin Elechi of Ebonyi, and Anambra State Deputy Governor Nkem Okeke. The federal government is not able to verify whether over 60 women and girls escaped from a Boko Haram camp at the weekend. Coordinator of the National Information Center, Mike Omeri, says at a press briefing in Abuja that there is still no official confirmation of the report.
Well, we have put out calls. We are communicating with our people over there to verify this. We will let you know. We still have not been able to confirm actually what happened and figures. So, and because we don't want to speculate and say things that we have no confirmation, please bear with us.
The last may not have been heard of last week's blast in Ile-Ife community, Osun State. The People's Democratic Party governorship candidate in the August 9 election, Iyoola Omisore, has thrown the blame of the explosion on the doorstep of the All Progressives Congress. The ruling party in the state, however, replies the PDP and insisted that it is sheer madness for anyone to accuse it of culpability. Franco Malape has details.
As widely reported in the media, Agbedegbede community area in Ife Central was thrown into panic last week when an explosion racked the area. An eyewitness narrated how it happened.
We were waking up from sleep from the sound of a blast. Everywhere was vibrating. We thought it was a building that collapsed. After a while, I opened the door and came out. Then I heard that some people brought in bomb into that area.
The People's Democratic Party governorship aspirant Iyoola Omisore blamed members of the All Progressives Congress for the explosion, saying it is an attempt to threaten his party members.
I'm aware there are some APC talks here that threaten people around here, very notorious. I believe that since Iyoola has threatened, they're going to break law and order for him to lose election. They're going to have to march on blood. He has started his threats as being to show his threat, but we will be equal to the task.
APC, however, denied the allegation, describing it as pure madness.
It's pure madness. APC will not destroy his own thing. Our people live in that area. Agbedegbede is a concentration of APC supporters in Ile-Ife. And you went ahead and threw something. I don't want to call it bomb because the police said they didn't see bomb. But they should not bring about tension, which we didn't have in the last 3.5 years here.
The police authority in Osun has debunked the rumor of a bomb, saying the explosion was a mere explosive device and not a bomb blast as alleged.
We discovered that the explosion was caused by what can be best described as a big bang or a knockout. And certainly not a fault. No life was lost, no injury was reported, and no property was damaged.
According to reports, this is the second explosion in the year. The cause of the explosion is yet to be ascertained. Frank Omalape, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
Progressive Congress has alleged strategy by the federal authorities to twist the forthcoming gubernatorial election in Osun State in favor of the People's Democratic Party using security forces. The party expressed concern over delays in distributing the permanent voters' cards to register voters in the state ahead of the August 9 governorship election in Osun, saying that the delay might be a trick to disenfranchise voters. The party urged INEC to maintain its neutrality during the forthcoming election and to ensure it does not do anything that can affect the credibility of the commission or the integrity of the election. The party's national publicity secretary, Lai Mohammed, said INEC has been painfully slow in processing the permanent voters' cards, wondering if the electoral body is not doing so deliberately to disenfranchise voters, especially in opposition strongholds. The Edo State House of Assembly crisis has taken a new twist as the People's Democratic Party lawmakers held a plenary session on Monday. The lawmakers, including the impeached Deputy Speaker Festus Ebea, who acted as Speaker, and 3 suspended members, sat with a mace and sergeant-at-arms in front of the entrance to the chamber of the Anthony Enahoro Assembly Complex. Ebea, while briefing journalists after the sitting of the 4 members, says the lawmakers resolved that the renovation in the Assembly Complex was illegal. He also stated that the Speaker, Uyi Ekpe, and other principal officers of the House, whom they had suspended, should be prevented from making withdrawals from the Assembly's account. Ebea added that the lawmakers also asked Governor Adams Oshomole to pay the outstanding entitlements of the recalled teachers and instructed the 18 local government chairmen to forward their receipts of cash disbursements to the House. A heavy presence of security operatives was noticed around the Assembly, causing traffic gridlock on major roads around the building. Plans to impeach Adamawa State Governor Murtala Inyako took a dramatic turn as the governor declared Monday and Tuesday as work-free days in the state. Opponents of the governor in the State House of Assembly say Inyako's action is an attempt to frustrate the move to impeach him. The governor was said to have played a fast one on his opponents following indications that the acting chief judge of the state, Justice Ambrose Mamadi, might inaugurate the 7-member panel he set up to investigate allegations of gross misconduct leveled against the governor and his deputy, Bala James Ngilari. A statement by Abdurrahman Abba, Nyako's chief of staff, stated that the governor has approved Monday, July 7 and Tuesday, July 8 as work-free days in Adamawa State to enable the people of the state reflect on the current happenings in the country and to use the period to offer special prayers for peace in the state and the country. The governor alleged that the acting chief judge had set up the 7-man committee under duress. Director of Press and Media, Ahmed Sajo, says that the promoters of the impeachment move were not law-abiding. Sajo expressed concern that it had become obvious that promoters of the impeachment plot were determined not to obey the courts, saying their actions have so far demonstrated a disdain for the judiciary. The members of the panel to probe the governor as announced by the acting chief judge, Abubakar Kaibama as chairman, Laraba Hassan, Ejidda Kito, Joshua Abu, Benano Esthan, Saad Lawal, and Eston Gapsiso. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has given tanker drivers 1 week to stop parking on roads leading to Apapa Port or face enforcement. Fashola handed down the warning after the inspection of projects in Mile 2 and Apapa area of the state. Abiola Oluwole completes the story as presented from our studio.
Inspection began at the road construction in Mile 2 area, where Fashola appealed to residents to desist from patronizing street traders and dumping of refuse and drainages.
We have to beg ourselves and beg citizens to leave the road. The road is not a market. We also have to appeal to commuters to stop shopping in traffic. These are so we can't trade on the road, buy things on the road and expect traffic to move. It's not going to happen.
The governor proceeded to Apapa, where residents complain about the nuisance tanker drivers are constituting in the area.
Excellency.
The reality is that on a work day, even Okada cannot pass this road. Okada, I'm not talking about a car.
After a discussion between the leadership of the Tanker Drivers Union, Ghana got a one-week commitment from the Petro Tanker Drivers Unit of Newpeng to sanitize the area.
How many days should I come back?
I'll get back.
No, you have to give me a commitment here. So let's start. So we begin to measure.
The next
1 week. I'll be back on Sunday, and I hope that from tomorrow we begin to see some improvement.
Residents are optimistic that the area will soon be free of nuisance from the tankers.
Nurses and trainee doctors have been attending to bomb victims at the National Hospital in Abuja. Striking doctors have continued to stay off work in spite of expectations by the health authorities that they will call off their nationwide strike. CoreTV News learned that the Nigerian Medical Association may suspend the strike after its emergency delegates meeting. Still on the doctor strike, the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria has assured all patients and Nigerians of its commitment to uninterrupted and high-quality healthcare services in all hospitals across the country. The association urges members nationwide to ignore the ongoing strike called by the Nigerian Medical Association, saying they should continue to provide services to patients. The association says reports from hospitals nationwide showed that members of the association had been attending to patients in various hospitals across the country. In a statement by its national president, Stephen Oluwole, the consultants said they had been working within the limits that are practicable in the current prevailing situation and circumstances. Medical doctors under the aegis of the Nigerian Medical Association will be holding an emergency delegates meeting to review its demands and negotiations with the federal government. The meeting was called to appraise the outcome of the July 3rd meeting that was held in Abuja between members of the National Executive Council, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the Minister of Health, and other top officials in the Federal Ministry of Health. The outcome of the meeting will determine whether the nationwide strike, which is its second week, will be suspended. The delegates meeting will have in attendance the state chairman and members of the Medical Association National Executive Council. Still on the doctor strike, medical practitioners have faulted the 24-point agenda by the Nigerian Medical Association that resulted to the ongoing strike by resident doctors across the country. They insisted that only one of the 24 points is in favor of the Nigerian people. The chairman, National Association of Nurses and Midwives, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital Chapter, Ajala Olubenga, says medical practitioners should stop being obsolete and selfish.
Out of 24 points, only 1 point is talking about health insurance for the populace. The remaining 23 points are of selfish interest, which doctors want for themselves. You know some of the reasons why they want to go. They want to be the alpha and the omega of the health industry. And that is not doable. They want to control all other professionals. That's not doable. They want to dictate the salary of other professionals in the health sector. How do you now say that the strike called for this purpose, it is to save the health industry? Definitely no. Consultants, it is not restricted to doctors. So anybody could become a consultant. So far, you are a guru in your field.
Speaking in the same vein, the chairman, Lagos University Teaching Hospital Research Team, Kehinde Adegoke, advised doctors to broaden their minds.
Hospital administrators are the ones who manage the hospital. The job of chief executive is purely administrative. It has nothing to do with clinical practice. And so they should wake up and stop terrorizing Nigerians with illegal strike and let the rule of law be. We are in democracy era. The rule of law should be. What we are experiencing in Nigeria is a product of military rule. When you look at the 24 points, the only point that has to do with the public is national health insurance to cover everyone. And on that point, I agree. And I believe every other professional will agree that health insurance should cover every Nigerian. We don't have social security. So if we have health insurance, better for us, we can access health facilities.
Human rights abuses have been a contentious issue in Nigeria for a long time, with very few activists speaking against it. Recently, the military has been in the limelight over allegations of human rights abuses in its war against terrorism. In this report presented from our studios, Ransom Acheme takes a look at the quality of human rights activists in Nigeria.
Human rights activists are volunteers who fight for the rights of the marginalized within the society. Voices like those of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and their contemporaries will not be easily forgotten. Activists in Nigeria are said to be instrumental in the fight for democracy.
The politics of the country determines the roles that the human rights activists should play at that particular time. You can see that the modus operandi we adopted during military rule is different from the modus operandi we have adopted under a democratic setting. Under military rule, all our efforts were geared towards asking the government of the day to go. All our efforts were geared towards telling the military that they must institute a transition program and there must be an end to military rule.
Some observers, however, say that the trend has completely changed, with majority of activists not ready to pay the ultimate price, especially in Africa. A politician and human rights activist, Yinka Odumakin, says the struggle for the masses is a risky adventure. He added that many would have turned human rights activists if it was a child's play.
It's a life-risking venture. There are other ways if you want to make influence or they want to make money. People are doing 419, they are making money. People are doing Yahoo, they are making money. People are doing kind of negative things to our society. So for people to put their lives on the line, it's like when Gani was alive. Remember, was said that, oh yes, Gani liked publicity. He wanted to be seen in newspapers. I said, Gani had enough resources that if he wanted to buy all the front page of newspapers, he put photograph there. He had the money to do it. He didn't know, but he stood for something.
The Deputy National Chairman of Joint Action Forum, Chudi Achike, says it is the duty of every citizen to react against oppression and infringements on fundamental human rights by governments or any individual.
Anybody that is not too satisfied with the performances of the crusaders, human rights crusaders, can, get involved in the mix, can begin to take it upon themselves.
Some Nigerians spoken to say most of the human rights activists are solely after self-interest. Dele Ashiru, a lecturer at the Department of Political Science, University of Lagos, argued that although some activists have derailed from the struggle, others still find it worthy to fight for the rights of the masses.
A lot of, so-called human rights activists who are human rights jobbers, there have been instances where funds that are meant for programs have ended up in some individuals' pockets. But it will not be right to say every one of them or everybody in human rights activism does that. But we know that there are some who are eternally committed, who are courageous, who have devoted their life to ensuring that violations of rights, wherever, by whoever, are fought and defended.
Human rights activists are no doubt popular with the masses, but they are in short supply in Nigeria. Some activists say not many Nigerians can boldly say they knew their rights within the law. Ramsin Acheme, CoreTV News.
You're watching CoreTV News on the Hour. We'll take a break and we'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, People's Parliament from the National, State and Local Government Assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, our 24-hour news station.
And thanks for staying with us. And now let's hide Nigeria. South Sudan is the world's newest country. It is preparing to celebrate its 3 years independence. A civil war is tearing the country apart, and aid agencies have warned of an impending famine. This report presented from our studios underscores the difficulty experienced by the people of South Sudan amidst the raging war.
Streets. Giant posters celebrates the 3rd anniversary of South Sudan's independence. But many people in the world's newest country are in no mood to cheer. In nearby Tamping Camp, some 15,000 internally displaced people live in makeshift tents, fetching water from tanker trucks and wading through mud. They are just a fraction of the 1.5 million people displaced by the civil war that erupted here in December. Before the conflict, Abraham thought Mayak was studying for a degree in biology. Now his dreams are dashed and his daily life is just about survival.
The overcrowding is one condition that we are facing now. And then another condition, the way of living. We are not feeling safe. There are so many diseases because we are living under the ground, and there is the rain.
Thousands of people have been killed in the conflict between South Sudan's first president, Salva Kiir, and his former vice president, now turned rebel leader, Riek Machar. Human rights groups say both sides have committed widespread atrocities, and the country is now at the top of the Fragile States Index. The United Nations is building several new sites to house the almost 100,000 displaced civilians seeking shelter on their bases. And to make matters much worse, aid agencies warn of imminent famine if they don't receive massive funding for food aid. The Red Cross has begun its forced airdrops for nearly 2 decades, helping to reach hundreds of thousands of starving people.
There are alarming signs there. There is malnutrition, especially amongst the kids in sensitive areas. So if that level of assistance cannot be maintained and increased in the next month, it is well likely that the food insecurity will become rather dramatic.
Peace talks in Ethiopia have so far failed to bridge the gap or implement a lasting ceasefire. The conflict, which started as a political row between Kiir and his former deputy, has taken on a brutal ethnic dimension, with Machar's Nord tribe pitted against the Dinka community that is loosely tied to Kiir. It's a far cry from the affair 3 years ago, when both men pledged to build a strong, united and prosperous nation after a decades-long fight for independence from Sudan.
It was powerful. People had a sense of having won the war that they fought for many years. So contrast that with what happened on the 15th of December, where the sense of togetherness, the sense of being victorious, the sense of living peacefully without fear in your own country, that was changed drastically.
From joy and hope to desperation, and now possibly starvation. South Sudan's promising future is long gone, and many are hoping its leaders will at last step back from the brink of catastrophe.
Take on news on the hour. Join us at 9:45 for the primetime news. I am Martin Dixon. Do enjoy the rest of our programming.